Remember my cool batwing dish from my Nosferatu Oracle video? It's broken. My cat knocked it off the table. Look at that. But what if there was a way that I could fix it and in the process turn it even more magical? Well, I'm at it. My son gave me this really cool Killstar cup. The liner actually busted right out of this sleeve. I'm also going to enchant this while I mend it. Maybe you'll get some inspiration on ways that you can do some minor mendings of your own. Coming up next. Hello and welcome. I am, of course, Mickie Mueller, author, illustrator, and witch, not necessarily in that order. And today we are here in my witchy dining room. I wanted to bring you along with me while I do some minor mendings. That is, of course, a reference to Lev Grossman's The Magicians. Yeah, I love the magic in The Magicians. But that's TV magic. What I'm going to be doing today is real magic. On a side note, though, since I mentioned The Magicians, I don't know if you guys are aware of it. Some of my artwork was actually purchased to be used on the set of The Magicians. I'll put it up here. I think I can figure out how to do that. I'll also have a link below so that you can visit my blog and read about how that actually happened. It was pretty crazy. I was very excited about it. And I was even more excited when it came out on SyFy and found out that not only was it cool to have my art on a TV show, but you could kind of see it a little bit in the background. It was a little blurry, but it was there. And as it turned out, the series and the books by Lev Grossman were freaking amazing. So I was actually really excited to have a teeny tiny little part of that show. But I digress, because really what I want to get onto today is my awesome batwing dish that broke. It's kind of cool. I don't know what kind of material this is made out of, but as you can see, it's a little sparkly there. I picked this up at Michael's years ago during the Halloween season, and I've been using it ever since. So when it broke, I was really sad because it's actually one of my favorite things. And even though, you know, it's made of resin, it's not like some kind of, you know, carved out of stone or something like that. I love it, and I think it's super magical because I put so much love into it and enjoy it so much. So I had to come up with a way to repair it. I also cannot wait to use this awesome Killstar cup. Tristan was really sad when this thing broke. I told him I was going to try to fix it for him, and then I was like, I don't know if I can fix it. We ended up looking online to see if we could find another one just like it. He ended up just getting a different Killstar cup that was also really freaking cool. And then we were talking about, well, what are we gonna do with this one? Should we keep it? Should we throw it away? And he's like, Mom, if you think you can fix it, go ahead and hang on to it. I've been trying to drink a lot more water and tea lately because, you know, I'm trying to be healthier. And this would be a really cool cup that I could carry around the house with me and just fill it up all day long. So I decided to enchant this to become a cup used for healing and helping me stay healthy. So that's pretty much it. Let's just go on to it. Get right down here on the table and I'll show you how I plan on enchanting these items. This is really going to be fun, you guys. Not everything is worse off when it breaks. Think of the Japanese art of kintsugi, where they repair broken items with gold and actually make them more valuable and more beautiful. Well, I'm not doing it with gold, but I am going to do it with magic. These items won't look any different after they've been repaired. They will actually look the same, but we'll know that there's magic inside of both of them. You can see here the crack on that, and there were two pieces that broke off, and here's both of those items together. I'm really excited to elevate both of these broken things and turn them into something that's even better than it was before, something full of magic and love. I already gathered up all of my supplies and doled them out onto my little silver tray, and kind of planned ahead what all I was going to be using. As you can see here, I've got different items for both of the broken things that I'm going to repair. This is the adhesive that I got. It's actually a 2-part epoxy, which I highly recommend if you're doing repairs. This one is medical grade and food grade since I'm going to be repairing that cup. I lit some candles to bless my space, and I brought in these fairy earrings with green aventurine that I got from Mint Fairy, who has just like the most positive energy of anybody I know, and I figured that has got to help me do these repairs. And a green aventurine is for optimism, courage, and confidence in trying something new. Here you can see how it broke. The lining broke away from the outside part of the cup. It's double lined, so I don't think this repair is going to be too difficult. I decided that since both items have a hollow spot inside, I'm going to make a charm bag to put inside each one before I do the repairs. So the first thing that I did was I took a nice cone of incense that I like, and I used the smoke to cleanse away any vibrations that were left on these items from the frustrating moment when they broke. I thought that made good sense because, you know, the minute you break something, you're very angry and aggravated and sad. And I thought, let's just get rid of all of that energy. Let's just clear and cleanse it and start from zero. So I did that with both items, cleared them inside and out using the incense smoke. And then I've got a little blue organza bag that you see there. That came from Bronx Witch. Both of the bags that I used for this project came from her. The first item that I'm going to make a charm bag for is actually from my Batwing bowl. And I want to use that for magical charging. So I've chose items that would be useful for that purpose. The first thing I grabbed is a Pinnacle Charm, and I'm going to throw that in there for magical energy. I've got an amethyst. That is good for adjusting low vibrations. Satin spar selenite, that's good for cleansing and clearing, and it will keep everything charged. Quartz crystal is great for power boost. You can just use that for basically adding energy to any spell. Tiger's Eye is another one that's just got a high vibe, power energy, so I'm using that. I've got jet and amber, and that is classic witch stones. They're not really stones, but great for magical energy. Labradorite for cleansing heavy emotions. Dragon's blood brings more potency to your magic. May apple, which is a root. It's also known as American mandrake, and that is for protection from bad luck. Rowan is to guard against baneful energy. Rose is just a good high vibration energy. I have High John the Conqueror root, which is another power boost and just can add energy to everything that you do. I'm adding sea salt to keep cleansing, and I have frankincense, which is just a general high vibing resin, and it's great for connecting with spirit. So that is my bag all put together. I am going to tie that 3 times. That's just something that I always do with my charm bags. You don't have to. And it should be said that because these are going to be sealed up inside of this bowl, I am not going to be able to get these items out again. So if you're putting a crystal in, something that is broken that you want to turn into something more powerful, make sure you choose crystals, stones, things that you are not going to want back. Don't pick your best crystal. As you can see, I used little bitty chips for this, little pieces. Now here I lined up that cup and top of the cup with some tape so that when I go to put the glue on it, I'll be able to see, make sure it's lined up. These are the little bags that I got from Bronx Witch. These are really nice. They're eco-friendly tea bag filters. And I used another shard of the satin spar selenite, again for cleansing and clearing and constant charging. I've got a little amethyst that I'm using for calm, for my immune system, and I've got a quartz there that boosts energy. I've got 2 moonstone chunks, and that's for healing and goddess energy and protection. I've got a Pecos diamond, and those are all going in there. The Pecos diamond is for overcoming challenges. I've also got frankincense for high vibration, sea salt for purification. You know I love my lavender for calm and healing, so I included that. I also have linden flower, Star of Bethlehem flower, and elderflower. And those are all good for physical and emotional healing, mind, body, and spirit. Star of Bethlehem specifically is great for PTSD, which is something that I struggle with. So since there's lots of emotional ties with food and health and these kinds of things, I thought these 3 flowers were really useful for my purposes. I also included mint for healing. There's a little Solomon seal that I also added, which just boosts the energy of everything else involved and is also really useful for inflammation, which is one of my struggles with my autoimmune diseases. So I also added ginger and cinnamon to add heat and to boost up the metabolism, and angelica for blessings, although for some reason I missed that part of shooting this. I checked to make sure that I could still get a good seal. I did end up redoing that pouch and made it a little bit flatter so that it would fit nicely inside of that. And this is the epoxy that I use a lot of times for fixing things. It's a 2-part epoxy, but this was the one that I got instead, and I will put the link below for you guys, anybody who wants to use that. The reason I purchased that one is because it was recommended for food and for use in medical stuff, and that way I knew it would be safe to put on that cup because I just didn't want to play. So any kind of epoxy that you use, make sure you read the instructions thoroughly. This is a one-time use deal, so it's actually really neat. It's got the 2 different parts, and they stay liquid until you squish them together, and that's the way 2-part epoxies work. This was really neat. You just rolled it up until you put enough pressure that it squished from the one pouch into the other pouch and kind of made them into one, and there you can see it. That was just really cool. I was like, okay, this is awesome. And I had enough for just this project that I was doing, so it worked out great. And then it tells you in the instructions how to roll it along the edge of a table until it's thoroughly mixed, and I did it a lot. This was one-time use, and I just thought that was perfect because I didn't have to spend a lot of money. And you know, once you squish them together, you've got to use them within a certain amount of time because they'll start to harden pretty quickly. So this was just perfect for me. And you can see how it changes as you squish it together. And there it is, all ready to go. I trimmed the little edge off, and I usually like to get a little more of the edge. There's just a little hole where it'll come out, but I like to get the extra plastic out of the way. So the bag is already inside of this, and now I'm fitting it together to make sure that it's gonna be a good fit and that I know which order the pieces need to go in. And I get it all worked out, and then I start to put the epoxy on. And I went ahead and went around the whole edge of this with that epoxy, as you can see. It was really fairly easy to work with. And then I put the pieces together. It was a little dicey, you know, you gotta kind of wiggle it around to get it just right so that it's nice and flush. And once I got it like that, I pushed them together fairly hard to make sure that it's all together. And yeah, it kind of came off a little bit, but I just pushed it together to make sure it's good and solid. And then I kind of set that off to the side, and I gave it a little something to lay on so that it would stay a little bit more upright and not have gravity pulling against it, basically, while I worked on gluing the other piece. Once the other piece is in place, the structure will be all together, and you'll see it'll kind of hold each other up. So there's that third piece that goes on the back there, that I'm gonna put some glue on that. and I fit the back into place. Now, as you do this, some of that glue is going to ooze out. That really can't be helped. So very gently, I went across and cleaned those little bits of glue off before they dry. Once they've dried, there's nothing you can do about it. So make sure that you get it nice and clean beforehand. And the next thing I did was to start on this because I wanted to work with that glue before it started to get hard. So I grabbed the cup and proceeded to go around that with the glue too. Now for the bowl, I didn't really have to use that food grade epoxy, but since I had it, I figured I might as well just use it for both pieces. So if you have something that you're not eating out of, you can use any kind of two-part epoxy as long as it'll work for whatever the material is that you're trying to repair. I kind of tried to smooth it around the cup as best as I could. And then I used that tape to match it up and make sure that it was lined up, and that was just less struggling for me when I put it into place. I needed some pressure on that, so I put a piece of wax paper on the top of the cup, and then I put my molcajete over the top of it. You'll see it's just basically a giant rock that it's like a mortar and pestle, and that was holding it down and kept it in place while I waited for it to dry. I did end up putting a little bit of black paint over the area where it was cracked to hide any bit of glue that was still showing. You literally cannot tell that it was ever broken. And now it's a wonderful magical tool that I can use for charging my bags, my crystals, my jewelry, herbs, anything that I want to charge. I'm really happy with how this came out. And it's back to being a treasure again, actually even more special than it was before. And that cup, I use that all the time now. It's one of my favorite things, and it's helping me on my healing journey. So I think that we should think about things that are broken and ways in which sometimes fixing them makes them even better. A vessel that was broken, the light shines through. Lots of things are broken and maybe it can't be repaired perfectly, but it doesn't mean they're less powerful. A statue that's broken you can turn into a tool for healing. And after all, mosaics are beautiful and they're made out of broken things too. Maybe if we can start to think about ways in which we can use broken things, we can appreciate that nothing is perfect, and maybe even appreciate that we're not perfect either, and that's okay. When we start to see the beauty in broken things, we can realize that we don't have to be perfect either. In this way, repairing something that was broken can be very healing for ourselves and awaken some of the inner magic that we all have inside.
What do you guys think? I was really happy with how these came together. I'm really glad that I was able to find that medical grade glue that made fixing the cup possible, and it worked out great for fixing my batwing dish too. Now it's become a magical tool, and I can use it to charge all kinds of things like crystals and herbs when I gather them and stuff like that. So overall, we were able to take something that was broken, keep it out of a landfill, and improve upon it. And these are things that you guys can do too. You don't have to do it exactly the way I did it. Obviously, every single broken thing is going to be a little bit different, the way that you repair it. So use your creativity. Look at the ways in which your items are broken, and if you want to repair them, think about the things that you might be able to do to incorporate magic into the process. And take something that made you sad because it was broken and turn it into something that's even better. We could do this with all kinds of aspects of our lives, you guys, because nothing in life is perfect. And yes, there are some things in life that once they're broken, they can't be repaired. But we should always take a look at these things and don't be afraid to try. If you know someone who might also want to come up with ways to do some minor mending magic of their own, why not share this video with them? If you learned something new here today that you hadn't thought about before, be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and cast a spell on the notification bell, because that is how you'll always know when I post a new video. Speaking of which, here's a few more videos that I think you guys might really enjoy. I hope to see you again here next time. Until then, stay safe, happy, and healthy. And remember, as always, to be your magic. Bye, everybody.